happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, the resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with my review for Hollywood on Netflix. Now, if you have not seen the series yet, come on back because there will be a few spoilers and whatnot. I had to hurry up and drop the review from this as soon as I got done watching it. It's 7 episodes, and when I tell you it will keep you going from episode 1 all the way to the end, it's for sure the truth. There are a lot of people that are going to have a lot of issues with the story. I know what it is in part. I see it. You know what I'm saying? You already know how people are. I've already seen some people I know on social media going, I'm not watching this shit about gay shit. And it's like, yo, calm the fuck down. As a straight dude, I wanted to watch it. You hear the stories of Hollywood all the time. First of all, living in Los Angeles, being an actor, having auditioned for many parts, trying to get on roles, having friends who are higher up in the acting and the entertainment industry. You hear all these various stories. Some are true, some are made up. But to see what they did, to see what Ryan Murphy has done with taking some real life and mixing it with fiction and giving you emotion throughout it all is a great thing. I did not expect to fall into this the way I did. To see the story of how Jack, who's trying to be an actor, he's going to this extras cattle call every morning at the studio trying to get picked just so he can help provide for his wife who works at a diner. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to do that. And then he ends up working at a gas station where he got to start turning tricks on the side. And it's like, you hear of a lot of actors who do have to have regular jobs. I know of many actors, many you might have saw on TV and movies, that were working regular jobs until a big thing came through. Because just because you see someone on TV and film doesn't mean they're automatically paid. Doesn't mean they're automatically straight for the rest of their life. So it was interesting to see that story, how that played off. But when it comes to the selling your ass for cash, when it comes to you got to do what you got to do, you hear this a lot, and you see some people. Now, let me just delve off real quick. I know people who will say, well, the reason I'm not on because I ain't letting nobody fuck me or I ain't sucking no dick. That's not always the case. You're not on because you don't have the talent. You're not on because you think way too high of yourself and not being realistic of yourself. Now, I'm not saying by any means it's not good to think high of yourself, because I think high of myself as a motherfucker. I know damn well I'm good at what I do on this camera when it comes to hosting. I'm damn well good at what I do on stage when it comes to stand-up, and damn well good at what I do on the camera when it comes to performing as an actor. So you should feel like that. But then there's also a level of realness and reality you have to have when you say you can afford to get better. No matter how long you've been doing something, you can still learn from things. You can still grow. There's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of people I know who say that the reason I'm not on because I'm not going to kiss nobody's ass. That is the part. It's not kissing anybody's ass. They're not willing to grow within themselves. But that's another part of it. Like I said, what was his name? David Corenswet. He plays Jack, and he's amazing because he grips you. And you see him trying to be an actor, and you see the old days of how you really didn't have to have any acting talent. You could be just picked out of a lineup and put in, the next thing you know, you're a star. It literally was like that back in the day. But I won't go bit by bit. But Laura Harrier, who plays Camille Washington in the movie. Now, if you don't know the name, you'll know the face because she played Liz in Spider-Man Homecoming. She was impeccable in this. Like, I watch certain shows and movies, and you see things and you're like, all right, I know where this is going. But you want those characters, that story to take you along on that ride with you, right? She does that. She's actually banging. She's in a relationship with the dude who plays Darren Criss' character, Raymond Ainsley, who's the director of this movie, Meg, which starts out as going to be Peg. It's a whole bunch of shit. That's a whole nother long-ass review. I can't do it. I'm going to give you the abridged version. But she tries to utilize him more than her talent to get in. She like, yo, you directing the movie. You should get me the role. And he's like, basically, no, you have the talent to get it yourself. Goes back to when some people say they won't kiss ass. Some people always want to hook up. Like, we all want a friend to bring us along, a family member who has a position of power to bring us along, somebody to pick us up, which is fair. And they'll say, I can, but I don't need to. I'd rather hear that more than anything else. And I can bring you up. I can pull you up. I could do all this. But guess what? I don't need to because you have the talent and the ability to do it yourself. And you see that in the movie. The series, excuse me. Samara Weaving, I'd never really heard of her before Ready or Not. And I was sold on it and Ready or Not. And then when I saw in this, I thought it was going to be a certain way, and it turned out to be completely different. I love it. The one thing, there's certain things that stood out the most. Rob Reiner playing Ace Amesberg, who runs the studio, who is an old school white guy, believes that a movie with a colored person in it as a lead would never sell. People won't watch it. It's against the rules of America. It's crude. It would bankrupt a studio. He has that belief and he has that philosophy until he almost dies fucking his side chick. Yeah, he literally. I told you spoilers. He almost fucks he literally puts his dick in and go 3 strokes and then has a heart attack. Like, yes, that must be some great side pussy. But nonetheless, you have him like that. You have it where Camille ends up getting the role in this film. Laura Harrier's character. She gets the main role. And there are protests outside the studio. There are moments where the Klan is burning crosses in front of her home, in front of the producer's home, in front of the writer who is black. Also, which he said, Rob Reiner's character was like, yo, I can't put a movie out with a black screenwriter. Now, I don't think you all understand just how absurd that is. Even though if it sounds absurd, it is. Because 9 times out of 10, you don't really see screenwriters. You don't know who they are, unless in many cases they become the director as well. But more than likely, you don't know. You wouldn't know some screenwriters if you saw them on the street. Let's just be realistic. You wouldn't know a TV writer or a movie writer if they just walked up to you. Unless you'd seen them before, then you would know. But because he was a colored guy, he knew he was colored, as they called him. Yeah, he wasn't black, he was colored. But because he was black, he couldn't have him on that project. Then it adds to another level to find out later that not only is he black, he's gay. And he's played by Jeremy Pope, which I was watching this and I'd never heard of him, so I did some research. I found out he's actually a queer man who's won like Tony Awards and he's done many things on Broadway. And he brings that acting element. You see him in this series and you see him acting as if he's in a play, but the emotion is so raw and captivating, it comes through the screen. I know that might sound confusing for a lot of people, but let me give it a comparison. Remember when Fences came out? And a lot of people legitimately complained. They were like, yo, Denzel just did the play all over again, which he was in the play. And some people were like, so what's the difference here? It didn't feel like I was watching a play. I knew I was watching a TV show, if you will, a miniseries that was happening to have an actor who was great on Broadway. And dude is amazing. Dude has moments where he is talking to his boyfriend, who turns out to be Rock Hudson, legendary actor. If you heard about him, he died in '85 of complications of AIDS. It was an open secret about his sexuality. So that's why it's prominent. This show blends fictional and real life at the same time. But back to Archie, he has moments when he talks about how he's basically discriminated against just because of his color. He's not allowed to be who he wants to be. And not just a black man, but a gay black man. And again, this is the 1940s in this. And so a lot of people will go and watch this and will say, oh, this is just somebody trying to have an agenda and beat over the head with this, that, and third. No, because you do have to realize that LGBT people may not have been as prominent in front of your face as they are today, but they've been around for God knows how long. You read through history books, people. But I go back to his performance. There are moments when he is talking and he gets emotional and you can see it's not a fake manifestation of tears of emotion. It's something that's raw. And there are many other characters that have these raw emotional moments and it brings you in and it almost catches you with a tear. Like me as an actor, I've always believed your performance should make people feel a certain way. It should damn near break them. Like people who try to be super tough, who like, oh, I ain't finna laugh. It should make them laugh. Or I'm not gonna cry. It should make them shed a tear and lie and say they got allergies in the middle of, February. But I believe those things. And Jeremy Pope, if anything, I will say this. When it comes time for the nominations for Golden Globes and the Emmys, he will for sure be nominated for damn near all the categories he can be nominated for. This series in itself will be nominated for all the categories it cannot be nominated for. The story of Anna May Wong, the first Chinese American actress to win an Academy Award. The same story of how black men and black women were not allowed to be seen as lead characters in a film because they believed no one would ever want to go see this. She was passed over for a role simply because she wasn't the best candidate. She was the best choice. They show her screen test as opposed to another woman's. She's the best choice, but the production head of the studio at the time was like, no, why? We can't put her as the lead. She's she's an Asian woman. She's yellow. She, basically you have to play a caricature of yourself. You have to be in yellowface, and even goes back to black women because Camille, before we see her become the lead in this movie, I know I'm going back and forth so much, but it's 7 episodes, and me trying to do a full review from beginning to end would be about 3 hours, and I know I don't want to talk that long. I talk enough as it already is, but earlier we see Camille, who's on contract by A Studios. She gets a quick role in a movie, and she thinks she's playing the lead. She's playing the opposite of the main character. She thinks it's a lead role. Comes to find out she's playing a servant, which again, in the 30s and 40s, black people were not allowed to have these prominent roles. You had to be the servant, somebody working in a domestic capacity, or other things, car wash, fix a car, shining shoes, things like that. And so she does it, and it's really upsetting because at one point she has a line, she plays it straightforward, like, I have some coffee or something. She says it real straightforward. The director literally comes to tell her, can you make it a joke? Basically, you shuck and jive it up. And so she goes and brings back the tray of the coffee, like, I've got your coffee, and spills it. And you can see when she goes back off screen, it demeans her to have to play that. And so I say that to say, when she gets to transition to play a lead role, a serious role, where she does not have to be a joke of herself, a mocking of herself, also brings up Hattie McDaniel, the legendary black woman who won. She's the first black woman to win an Oscar for supporting actress for Gone with the Wind. And it was so significant because Hattie McDaniel was the daughter of 2 slaves, and she was not allowed in the theater during the Academy Awards because she was a black woman. She was told to sit outside. She is played by Queen Latifah, who plays the hell out this role. It's not, you don't see much of Hattie McDaniel, but when you do, you see enough. And Hattie McDaniel also later has a conversation with Camille about, if you get nominated, be in that room. Make sure you are in that room. Don't let them tell you you have to sit outside. Fight for what you want, because I didn't fight for that opportunity. And it's again, you are worthy of enough. If you're the Academy, if you're these governing bodies who nominate people for these awards, you're looking back in the 30s, 40s, sometimes maybe even 50s. You're saying this person is good enough to be acknowledged for this award, whether it be supporting best or whatever the case, but they're not good enough to be in the facility with everybody else to potentially receive their awards. They're still second tier. They're still subservient, if you will. And you see that they show a flashback of Hattie McDaniel having to go through that, having her come to the Academy Awards and telling them, like, yo, I'm nominated, I should be in there. And the police like, ma'am, you got to stay out here, and damn, they're getting physical. It gets you frustrated because those are things that really happen. And I know a lot of people will watch this and go, well, Jay, that's the past. We live in a different future now. Things are different. Women can direct and be in front of the camera. People can be open with their sexuality. Gender is fluid, and black people and white and everyone can be together and doesn't matter. But at the heart of it all, some people are still treated the way they were treated back then. It's just not as blatant as it was. You see so much of this. You see Jim Parsons' character as Henry Wilson, a legendary director who was a agent who was a sleazeball, who was fucking his young clients, basically fucking them, trying to tell them, I can make you a star, which is, again, stuff you hear about to this day, the casting couch and stuff like that. I will say Jim Parsons plays the hell out of this role. He plays the hell out of this role. Dylan McDermott plays Ernie, who runs the gas station / prostitution ring, male whorehouse where Jack works, that I was telling y'all earlier. And Dylan McDermott plays a sleaze perfectly, but then has a change of heart later, if you will. He has a moment in his life where he has to reevaluate things, and it is. I'm also making sure I'm pulling up all these people so I can know exactly who to tell you all who everybody is. Joe Mantello, is that what it is? Yeah. Joe Mantello, he plays Dick Samuels. Dick Samuels being a very big executive producer at the studio who can help to produce and make these movies happen. And one of the things why he is trying to push this movie forward, with Meg being having the guy who is half Filipino directed, which is a big thing as well, a black lead versus a white male lead with a queer black man as the screenwriter, is because he is a closet homosexual and he's hated himself for that. Now, I bring all that up. Everybody's going to say, well, this movie is just about a gay agenda. It's about homosexuality and letting people be. It's about people having to be people being able to be who they want to be able to achieve their dreams, and not having to conform to anybody, to not have to change who they are for anybody. And that is a very big thing. I know a lot of dudes, a lot of women, all races and creeds and colors who have changed themselves to try to make something of themselves. But you can, if you know them personally, you know deep down they despise themselves. Then I also know others who have stuck to their guns, who have stuck to their integrity, and they have made their way straight up from just who they are. And I still salute them. I salute anybody who makes it, no matter how you make it. It's just, that's something personal you have to deal with if you compromise your integrity. You know what I'm saying? That's not on me to do. That's not for me to demean you and crucify you, because I can have an opinion, but it's your life at the end of the day. This miniseries touches on a lot. And I think probably because me being in the industry, me being in LA, me being from Chicago, trying to make it in Chicago and knowing, okay, I've only done so much. And if I want to do bigger things, if I want major roles in TV and film, I got to go to Los Angeles. And I come here and you think you come as with a dream, as most people do. And then sometimes it becomes a dream deferred, or it becomes a dream that's broken, or a dream failed, or a dream crushed in many instances. You see this happen. Now, granted, this miniseries, it has a positive ending. It has a big glimmer of hope at the end, which is great. You want to live this on a positive note. But then that takes me to this other part. I tweeted out about it. I said, this movie, excuse me, it feels like a movie. This miniseries, the show, will be nominated itself for all of the Golden Globes and all of the Emmys. Why? Because A, it is good. It is good. I won't deny that. B, the acting is amazing. The actors put on a damn good performance. But C, Hollywood likes to jerk itself off a lot of times. I don't know if that's the best term to use, but they do. See La La Land. Because La La Land, remember that whole controversy about how it won Best Picture when everybody was like, that's not the Best Picture, but Moonlight really won? So you have shows like, anytime I see something that is based about Hollywood for Hollywood, it's like, okay, I see what will happen. Now, I know some people will say, well, what about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Why did that not get as much praise as you thought it was going to get? It got some Oscars. I think it got Brad Pitt the Oscar. So for it to get Brad Pitt the Oscar, yeah, because there was a controversy of you can get an Oscar for playing a stuntman, but a stuntman can't get an actual Oscar. But that's another story again. But you see Hollywood does that a lot. It is what it is. It controls the narrative. They control the narrative. Hollywood controls the narrative of Hollywood. It is what it is. That's just like Black Hollywood controls the narrative of Black Hollywood, and so on and so, Hispanic Hollywood and so on and so forth. It all is the same thing. But if I had to give this as a rating of 1 to 5 stars, I definitely give it a 5 because of the message outside of just being in the entertainment industry. Because of the message of you believing in yourself, pushing for yourself, fighting for who you are and for what you believe is right, despite how anybody else feels, despite any of the pushback you will receive. Not you may receive, you will receive, because each and every person involved in the production of the movie that this is all about, called Meg, knows that there's going to be great levels of pushback. There are going to be massive levels of pushback. Archie later in the series learns he knows there's going to be massive levels of pushback coming on the red carpet with his boyfriend Rock Hudson holding hands. But you believe in what you believe in and who you believe in as yourself. So that's why I give this a 5. And if you've seen this, I want to know what you think in the comments below, all right? So go ahead and like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you find out when I'm dropping new videos. Check out other reviews I've done here on the channel. I reviewed Black AF, King Embarrass's show. Got thoughts on that. Also, I do a weekly review of Harley Quinn on the DC Universe animated app. I do a review of that with my boy Wednesday Marshall right here on the channel, so click over on that as well. I might have those up at the end for you to see. All right, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. That's MR, excuse me. That's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. It's literally spelled right there for you all right? And make sure you join my Patreon, the Supervillain Squad. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. Also, check out the Mad Titan podcast, where I get you caught up on everything that is happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. It is barbershop talk for nerds. We keep shit A100. So come on in the convo. And every Tuesday, live 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, Winston A. Marshall and myself go live with Blurs in the Hood, yo. We keep shit raw, and we have a fun show where we talk about pop culture, entertainment, sports, the real world, nerd shit, and a whole lot more. And a lot of times it just goes off of the rails, all right? I will holler at you guys later. Take care. I'm out of here. Bye.